As the room fill up, be sure to hit the like, share this content, let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. The name is Law Nation. And I really appreciate each and every last one of you all for being part of these type of episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get it. Mama said, there'll be days just like this. And if I could just take maybe 10 to 15 minutes of your time to talk about what's going to happen. Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith declared out in this game versus the Miami Dolphins. And on the road theory, brought to you by Marshall Falk. He was on the Rich Eisen show. Here's my thoughts with this altogether, and especially with Tyron Smith. I think that he's valuable to this team. I think that he's better when healthy. I think that the Cowboys can just pump the brakes, let these next 3 games be a situation whereas he can just heal up. I would prefer to have a healthy Tyron Smith in the playoffs, right? Give him time to heal. And the same storyline for my guy, Johnathan Hankins. He will not be in this game. He's ruled out according to news. So I would let both of those boys heal all the way up. Let me know if the audio is straight, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate each and every last one of you all. I would rather for these guys not to limp into the playoffs versus saying to the world, hey, man, we okay. We all right. Let these boys just get out there. No. Let these boys heal up and then see what they look like week 1 of the playoffs. Don't want them limping in. As it relates to the offensive line, I tell people this all the time. That is the only unit that all 5 guys must be on the same page. Let me repeat. Appreciate you, Justin. He says audio is great. Appreciate you, bro. All 5 guys must be on the same page. Not should, but must. All 5 guys. And even with Chuma Edoga in at left tackle, guess who I'm more still worried about, right? Or not necessarily worried, but have reservations on. I have reservations still on Terrence Steele, right? Even if we do have Chuma Edoga out there, I still have my reservations on the right side. So what the Cowboys should do against the Miami Dolphins is still keep my guy Tony Pollard in the backfield, chip and release, and then look for the ball on the outside. Chip, release, look for the ball on the outside. Chip, release, look for the ball on the outside if we are doing some shape, form, or fashion, a passing game, right? And on the road, we've been pretty much sus on the road. We have averaged about 18 to 19 points on the road. At the crib, we average anywhere between 32 to 37 points at the crib. So that disparity could be due to lack of communication, could be due to lack of focus, could do to a lot of other things, and we'll go into details with that. Also with that, Cowboy Nation, when I started to think about Johnathan Hankins, we know he's a big enforcer. Y'all said with me, pushing big body cage, stop me for the 9-8. I got to sell 1 million copies. You know, when you got your big boys down inside, that tends to help you out with run game. That tend to help you out with linebackers coming down to field. That tend to help you out with some gap exchanges, right? Twist stunts that you probably can do a little bit more, opposed to last week. We didn't really necessarily try anything unique, right? We just tried to line them up, lace them up. Let's go straightforward, right? But with Johnathan Hankins not into the mix, we see more and more plays from Mozzie Smith. He had 1 sack last game, 1 tackle for loss. You know, he did his job. I think he had a total of like 3 tackles in this past game. That's good for a defensive tackle. We need more out of him. People are already ready to shank the man with the butter knife. Don't want to give him time to develop and grow. I get all of that. But at this time, if we are talking about playoffs, then it'd probably be better for the Cowboys to allow, my God, some rest. And I'm talking about Johnathan Hankins. that will be a better situation for us. Appreciate you, Young Wilson. He says, agreed with Terrence Steele. And for those who like the snitch tag, I'm not talking about you, Terrence Steele. We just calling out reservations, right? I know people like to chop up some segments and say, hey, man, Law's talking about you, Terrence Steele. Nah. But we all know the circumstances, right? He's coming off of a bad was it ACL that he snapped up last year? And everyone have a reason, but results are what matter. And the expectations from the Cowboys land will be for him to play to the levels that it never was hurt, right? Or he's never going through the recovery aspect of it. And I get that. We have high marks of expectations around here. Even with that, ladies and gentlemen, a little earlier today, we were at the Frisco main event. Salute to keeping families connected. We were out there with Dr. Scott, and shout out to my guy from K104, Jay Cruz. We gave away toys, and it was a wonderful moment being able to see the smiles on the kids' faces, smiles on the parents' faces, and being able to give back to the community. If you guys want to be helpful with any initiatives that we got going on, be sure to click the information that's in the description box to help people get smiles on their faces. And speaking of that, let's talk about Dak Prescott, Marshall Faulk. He was on the show, Rich Eisen show. And they did a great job of expounding upon on the road, the treachery. We on the road, baby. Oh, my goodness. Oh, let's talk about this.
Ask you about some narratives here, Marshall Faulk, that are going on right now. Cowboys are going to be one and done because we saw what happened in Buffalo.
I want to think that it's different. I've seen a different Dak. The question is going to be, can Mike McCarthy get out of the way?
Really?
Yep.
Because he's been dialing it up like crazy.
Did y'all hear that? And he said, "Kid, Mike McCarthy, just get out of the way." Wait a minute. You would want Mike McCarthy to get in the way, but I think that our situational awareness is kind of bad anyway, right? Then you just got to multiply that times 10 when you are on the road. Your communication, your line of communication, it be really, really, really slippery, right? When you don't have the information, when you can't hear. And I know we all know, yeah, here we go. You know, you don't get a chance to do all of the alignments and assignments and the shifts. You don't get to have that comfortable feeling looking at your wide receiver on the outside. But let me let Dak do it better.
Yes! Here we go!
Yeah.
Here we go! Here we go!
Yeah. And those type of things can muddy the waters. We got a score update from Jaja. He said the Chargers up 10-0 versus the Bills. There's some weird record out there that teams are below 500 after they play us too, by the way. But a lot of people don't pull that up. I think the record is like 1 and about 8 or 7 teams after they played the Cowboys, believe it or not. Whether they win or lose, they go into like this losing spree. But I'm going to tell you, because they be so mentally focused on beating the boys. That's what happened. You know, you play the Cowboys and then all of a sudden it's your Super Bowl. They try to put it on us and say, hey, when we play teams, it's our Super Bowl. Look, if you think I'm lying, what did the 49ers do after they played us? Oops. Let's listen to the rest of this.
To this point,
it's not that he's dialing it up. It's that Dak is putting him in the proper plays. On the road is different. You got to have some signals and you got to be able to get into the proper plays. At home, they can hear him. On the road in Buffalo, there was no checks. Dak had to make decisions dropping back. And that's hard. Ask anybody. Ask Peyton. All of them. They get a pre-snap read and they play from that pre-snap read. If you do something, boom. They play 4 cross and they dropped it in late on him. And he had to make decisions. And your guys got to win.
So give Dak the ability pre-snap to do whatever he's seeing, give him full control, and the fact that he doesn't have it may be the reason why we're seeing the Cowboys struggle on the road.
That's my analogy, that he doesn't have it.
No doubt. When he said he doesn't have it, he's talking about the information. And that's why I leave people scratching their head like, hey, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know, it seems like it's 2 teams. There's 2 things that do travel. Let me say this again. There's two things. Let me turn to Dr. Umar a little bit. Two things that do travel. Two things that do travel. Two things that do travel, and that is defense, run game. Those two things travel. Now, when you have a great defense, it doesn't matter whether you're on the moon, Pluto, Mars, backdoor Mississippi, your defense will be there. And when you have run game, man, the philosophy, the way you want to get to the edge, that still travels with you. When you start to think about the teams that's really on the tops, like the Ravens, their defense travel. Their run game, they utilize Lamar Jackson, and they still have a philosophy of running the ball. The 49ers, when they're on the road, that defense still say, hey, come along, my friends, come along and get on. Boy, that's the old Mississippi flavor for y'all. And ride this train. That's what they do. That doggone defense travel with them. Also, the run game travel. CMC, everybody talking about Brock Purdy being the doggone MVP. It's CMC. He's the force multiplier there. And then you sprinkle in what Debo can do. And when Debo is not active, they put him in the backfield to run. Run opens up your mindset to say, hey, we gonna get this one way or another. And the Cowboys, what we do is we think that when we are on the road that we have the same sets. No, we don't. We should have it differently. You got to start running the ball just a little bit more, Cowboy Nation, on the road. Even though we were running with good authority last game, we just didn't stay with it, right? So those are things that Mike McCarthy is going to have to do, is say to his team, before we start airing this thing out, let's get in rhythm. Let's get in front of it. Let's make sure that everything that we have is complementary to our defense. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all like facts, law facts. I like the little dog right there. And yeah, Bills really are here selling. Yeah, I think the Bills got to win out, right? They didn't clinch anything. They better figure out something. Appreciate you, Sue Rama. Appreciate you. And let's go. Dallas will have a L tomorrow. I feel you, Morehouse, man. Appreciate you, 97. Thank you for your negative support. We appreciate all support over here. Appreciate you, Greg. So on the Instagram, we see y'all over there. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Here's what I want to switch over to. I want to talk a little bit about what this game is up to. When you start looking at ESPN and who's out, who's in, who I want to see out there is this dude right here, Malik Hooker. Zach Martin, they said that it's a game day decision. I think that Zach Martin will play tomorrow, right? I think that he would give us some unbelievable good looks. Tyreek Hill, Xavier Howard on the Miami side, they are very questionable. And I'm not going to get into that particular situation because you know why? Teams show up when it's time to play us. They say, oh, man, I'm healthy, man. I took off last week, but I make sure that I'm ready for this week. And we'll find out, man. The Cowboys just got to come out guns a-blazing. We see that the predictometer is pretty much everybody is kind of close right here. Hey, the way the Cowboys will win in this game, we need to score. This defense is predicated upon the offense. This is not the type of defense that say, hey, offense, take a day off, which no team really say that, but this is not that style of defense. This defense is the kind of caliber of defense that say, hey, when the offense is up, whether it be by 3 or whether it be by a touchdown, we can pin our ears back and rally and chase and get to the quarterback. So many people been fighting each other over Micah Parsons, right? And we'll be a fool to say, well, Parsons is no good at defensive edge, right? No, he's really good at defensive edge, right? Everybody got them a weak point. There's no flawless opposition. There's no flawless person, right? Everyone got them a weak spot. One can argue prime time. He can cover every blade of grass, right? He can mentally take you out of a game. one can argue what was his weakness? Tackling, But if you talk to Prime, he would never admit it. Like, no, I can't tackle. But he couldn't tackle. Hey, Rod Woodson, who remember him back in the days for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Beat down every single wide receiver in the National Football League when he was a DB on the outside, when he was a cornerback. His weakness was when you seen 88 Michael Irvin, the playmaker, dogged him every time. Every time. You have Bubba Dub, if he was alive during that time, I don't know how old he is, he would be saying, Rod Wilson, trash, He'd be talking about Terry Bradshaw rolling around in his grave. Terry Bradshaw like, wait a minute, I'm still alive. But those are the realities. Everyone got a weak spot or a weakness. Hey, my guy, not Prime, but the playmaker. You know who his weakness was? A guy by the name of Aeneas Williams, right? He couldn't get off. He couldn't beat him one-on-one, although the Cardinals during that time were trash. But Aeneas Williams used to always get into him, But that's just how it is. So at the end of the day, we just got to make sure we strengthen our strength and not go against the grain. That's all I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. My guy, you got some old heads up in here. He says, Rob Woodson was a speed demon. Yeah, he was. He was a kickoff return guy until he tore up stuff and they moved him to safety, right? So everybody have their weak spots or what have you. Look, let's not focus and analyze too much on the weakness. Yes, Jeremy Chuma Edoga, he's one of those guys that I really like, and I hope that he can just continue to grind and stay afloat. Just don't get your quarterback killed. He may have a full series that he's off kilter a little bit, but it is what it is. JC Cowboy Network, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the fire, and salute to Brandy. Thank you so much for your support. We needed to get the dub. We flat out do. I got another support line for you, man. Morehouse, man, 97. Appreciate you. All in fun. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your support. Back to Michael Parsons. The argument is that he's no good. He's no good at linebacker. Someone reported that and said, hey, man, he's no good at linebacker. What we're saying as off ball, if he's engaged and he's too much, not much of an impact in this game, if the Miami Dolphins look at it and say, hey, they're going to run to daylight, they're going to keep running, you might as well move him. Now, he said that, hey, the Cowboys are in this experimental phase. That's what they're trying to do. They're not really trying to do anything else otherwise, but they are trying to get the other guys going, which would be more so like I would say woo, right? Most of us would say, hey, man, why would you experiment in week 14, 15, 16, 17? That's crazy, right? Here he is right here.
Michael Moore, off the ball linebacker, rather rush in. What are your thoughts on that?
When I'm off the ball or when I'm out the game, teams are passing more. Why are teams running the ball? You're almost helping these teams by moving me off the ball, which I'm not saying is a bad thing because I do a lot of good things off the ball, especially in the run game, first down, second down, blitzing. We also got to realize where we at in the season, right? We're getting ready for playoffs. So what does that mean? We know I can play linebacker. We know I can rush. We know I can do all these different things. But you're trying to see what others can do because.
What do you say? You're trying to see what others can do. Well, it's better to know it than to not know it, right? Like, dog, man, I didn't know Damone Clark can't fill gaps or Marquise Bell when the tackle is pulling or when the tight end on him is taking forever for him to disengage. Bad tape is what you don't want out there, but it's necessary. Write this down. You learn more from your failures than your success. Let me say it again. You learn more from your failures than your success, right? There's a lot of successful people right now watching, right? Because they fail a lot, but they didn't give up. Get back up. If you fall, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up, right? So the Cowboys, they landed on their backs. Let's look up to this moment. Now, what he's saying basically is that we need to see more of Damone Clark. This is his second season, right? If it wasn't for his neck injury, he would have been drafted in the mid-seconds or third rounds, right? but he had a neck issue coming out of college because he had to do something with a surgery, and that's what made him drop. So you got talent out of him, right? So what the Cowboys are ultimately trying to see is, can Damone Clark do this job? Now, if the Cowboys continue to run the same thing and they say, well, we're still experimenting and we get blown out again, then that's just the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I would say this. Yes. Brandon said Les Brown. Yes, my guy right there. You know, salute to Les Brown. Appreciate him. All right, so listen to the rest of this.
When it comes playoff time, you want your best players out there. And how does that look? You know, what can each player do? We building foundation, right? People don't realize this is Damone's first year really playing at the NFL. Last year he was coming off his injury. I think people got to relax a little bit, give it some time, give it to some space, let people grow. We're going to do a lot of things schematically and build things. And with Dan, I mean, we always get better. We never get worse. So, you know, it's going to get better.
He said it's going to get better. So don't worry, don't fret. It's going to get better. Ladies and gentlemen, if you trust Dan Quinn, put DQ in the chat. Put DQ in the chat. We'll put I trust Dan Quinn. If you team Mike McCarthy, I say this pretty much every week by now, right? Put MM in the chat or MMX DQ. That's Mike McCarthy times Dan Quinn. If we're going to go anywhere with this team, those two boys got to be on the same page. They can't be saying, okay, hey, when we get to the playoffs, it's time to experiment a little bit more. No. Hey, Dan Quinn, make sure you have everything in order. Hey, we down a guy on defense, and that's Johnathan Hankins. We down a guy on offense. That's Tyron Smith. But you got to figure out a way, because at the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier, everyone have a reason, but results are what matter. It's been 27 to 28 years, and regardless of it, no one is going to mention, hey, man, you know, you guys, that's okay. Y'all had Chan Gailey, man, for 2 seasons. Hey, what y'all think? What you expect? You had Dave Campo for 3 seasons, 5-11, 5-11, 5-11. Who remember those days, right? You had my guy, and I'm going to keep saying this over and over again so people can understand. It's not just a blanket 28 years, right? You had Parcells for about 3.5 years. Those were years coming off of 5-11, 5-11. You can only imagine if you had the wealth of talent that this particular team got right now, right? And then we had collectively, I'm just merging Coach Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett together, but collectively we had the same philosophy of offense since 2007. And basically for the actual 3 years with my guy, Kellen Moore, but collectively we had Jason Garrett for 13 seasons. Oh my gosh, 13 years. That's a long time. A long time. And we were in a state of purgatory, neither heaven nor hell. We were just in that middle place, 8-8, 8-8, somewhere around there. And the expectations, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately was still the same. Super Bowl, man. We going to the Super Bowl, man. How you doing, guys? Jason Garrett, the clapper and all, right? So these 4 years with Mike McCarthy, if you X out the 2020 season, this dude literally been 12-5, 12-5, and now we're finna be on the pace of maybe being 12-5 again or 13-4, some crazy good number like that. So that's good for us, right? Appreciate you, JC Cowboys Network, for the $4.99. Appreciate you.
Yes! Here we go! Here we go!
Appreciate you, man. He says it was great linking up with you, Law. Best weekend for sure. Cowboys for life, man. Thank you so much, man. Hey, let's continue. Let's make it an annual trip, man. You come on down here and we undefeated when you come too, right? So come on out, man. Let's continue to have a great time here in Cowboys world. MM knows He cannot lose. He is under pressure. For my guy B-Boy. Yes, man. This stream was great. I appreciate all of you all for tuning in. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to support this Cowboys, Law Nation Sports. Be sure to hit the like, share this content. If you guys haven't seen Keeping Families Connected, we was there this morning. Woke up around 6 or 7 o'clock. Drove all the way up to Frisco, had a great time there, hung out with Dr. Scott, J. Cruz. We had a great time putting smiles on people's faces and leaving warm impressions. Salute to Main Event. Appreciate everybody who came out, dropped off toys or picked up toys in general. It was great. And let's continue to grow together, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be helpful for someone, his name is Jax. He's fighting for his life. We got a link that's in the description box. Be sure to check that out and support there, whether it be $1, $2, whether it just be a comment that you leave. Any of those things, prayers, all of that will work. We all know that this weekend is a great time, a joyous time, but also keep in mind, it's also a sad time for those who missing out on their loved ones, right? So just look, if you got someone that you love, give them a hug and kiss. And that's all the time that we have for this moment. Cowboy Nation, be ready. Be ready tomorrow, man. Like Brandon said in the chat, we got to get this dub one way or another. Figure it out. I don't care if the score 3-2. I'm going to be jamming, baby. Let's go. I know y'all be jamming too, man. So, hey, let's get this show on the road. Cowboy Nation, I had a few people that hit me up saying, Law, where you at? Law, I'm in Miami. I said, wait a minute now. Law ain't eligible to roll like that right now, you know. But in the future, when the sponsors really come rolling through, Law will be at every home game giving you guys this flavor, right? But Cowboy Nation, let's continue to grind and shine. I always like to leave with a word, and the word is stay focused. Put your mind together with it. And if you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep, if all of your desires of it makes you quite mad that you don't get tired, and it makes you hold everything tawdry and cheap, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you'll gladly go out there and sweat for it, fret for it, or plan, or lose all terror of your mind, if you would simply, just simply go after the thing you want with all of your capacity, strength, and sagacity, with faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold, poverty, or famish, or fame, or the sickness of your body or brain can turn you away from the thing you want, if dogged and grim and besieged and beset, with the help of Almighty Cowboy Nation and everyone that's listening, you will get it. Stay focused. Put TCB in the chat and SOB in the chat. SOB stands for standing on business, by the way. Let's go, baby. We about one love. Salute. Peace. Let's get it. Be victorious. Come on, y'all. Be victorious. Victory is all. Let's go ahead. Come on. He said, preach, appreciate you. Let's go. Riggs, I'm getting too old for this, Riggs. Appreciate you. There you go, Hot Boy 95. Appreciate you. And Rico and them, appreciate you, man. I love seeing the fire too, Rev. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, and salute to everybody that's over there on the Instagram. I see you, Leo, 42 Ways. Appreciate you, Xavier Collins. Appreciate you. Let's go. Let's get it. SOB, stand on business, baby. Merry Christmas to all of you. Let's go.